Welcome everyone to our midweek exhale. My name is Sharyn with a Y, and I am one half of the Exhale Awakening. Somewhere on your screen, she's up there for me, is Marie. She is the other half of the Exhale Awakening. And welcome to this pause in the middle of your week. So perhaps your week has been busy, perhaps not. Either way, just taking some time out to gift yourself a rest in the middle of the week is so valuable and so precious to your nervous system. So, our session, for those of you who are new, our session consists of 4 different breaths in a sequence. And each of the sections of the sequence starts with birdsong, moves into breath with music, and then ends in silence. And the birdsong and the silence are just as much medicine as the breath work itself. So the birdsong calms our mood and calms our nervous system. So if the birds were singing when we lived in a time when that meant something, it demonstrated that predators were not around, and so our primitive brain picks that up and knows that that is a good thing. And the silence actually, apart from moving us into our parasympathetic nervous system, the silence also allows us to build new neural pathways. And then, of course, the breath also moves us into our parasympathetic nervous system and allows us to find calm. And today we're going to breathe slightly differently today. So in the first breath, we're going to bring awareness to our breath. And then in the middle 2 breaths, we're going to breathe coherence. And then in the last breath, we're going to go back to awareness, bringing awareness back to our bodies and our breath again. And oh, can I just take your attention to the breathing space message board? There's somebody in there trying to get into the room. Thank you. So the reason why we're doing this, it's a really restful breath this week. And the reason why we're doing this is because Mercury goes retrograde tomorrow. I don't know if any of you follow planetary rhythms and planetary cycles, but tomorrow Mercury is going retrograde. And whilst I'm not going to go into that, if you want to know more about that, you can get in touch with me and contact me. But the reason why that's important is because whenever any planet goes retrograde, we're invited into a space of review. So rather than moving forward, we're invited to a place to stop, to look back, and then Mercury will move forward again, and we can journey through that same space with a different perspective. So today we're going to invite you to just give some reflection time to various parts of your being. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. We're going to just feel into the cosmic rhythm, and we're going to let our breath work with that cosmic rhythm. So you know our one rule. Our one rule is be comfortable. So the invitation is to really settle into your body, to really allow yourself to soften into your body, into the edges. And at the same time as that, just be aware that sometimes the breath takes us to our edges. Sometimes the breath moves us right to the edge of our comfort zone and asks us to stay there for a little while and notice what we notice, to be aware. So I invite you to walk that very fine line. We will never ever ask you to push through. I'm not sure it's healthy, but I'm not sure it's healthy for anyone to push through anything. Going to the edge, noticing what is occurring at that edge and waiting there for a while to see what presents itself as resolution. That's different. That's different than pushing through without awareness. So I think that's all I need to say. If you would like to make yourself comfortable, and you can do this breath seated or lying down, but I would just maybe add, whilst movement and sound is welcome, don't stand up without first taking care that you're kind of fully present and that you're not dizzy. And you shouldn't need to stand up. It's just you're in your homes and something might happen and you might feel you have to go and do the door or whatever. So just being aware of your comfort, just being aware of the place that you've chosen to sit or to lie, and the surface that you are lying down or seated on. And maybe starting the practice by deepening your inhale and letting out a sigh. So just breathing in through the nose, pausing when your lungs are full, and then sighing the breath out through an open mouth. And do that twice more. And just beginning to notice as you connect into this space, into your breath and into your body, notice the areas in life, or bring to mind the areas in life where you have a tendency to push through. Those areas where you feel driven. Maybe where you're enthusiastic, and that has a momentum, a forward motion of its own. And as you bring these to mind, imagining what it would feel like for just a short period of time to slow down, to look back and to reflect. And maybe noticing things that you didn't notice the first time because you were too busy with the forward momentum. And notice how it feels to give yourself permission to slow down. What happens? What happens in your mind? Perhaps it speeds up and there's a little bit of panic. What happens in your body? Perhaps there's tension. Or perhaps there's relief. Maybe the idea of going backwards brings up some emotions for you. And the drive or the passion kind of rises. Just being aware. Of how it feels to even consider going backwards for a little while, stopping for a little while, reflecting for a little while. Notice your breath. Notice where it's landing in your body. Can you feel it moving your chest? Your ribs, your back, your belly. We're shortly going to move into some silence, and as we do, just keep your attention on your breath. Just your natural rhythm. And allow the silence to be an invitation.
And as the bird song brings the silence to an end, just taking a few moments to notice how that silence felt. Maybe it felt like it was never going to end. And maybe it was over in a blink. And either way is absolutely fine. And in our second segment this evening, we're going to invite you to coherence breathing. And coherence breathing is when we balance our breaths. So our inhale and our exhale are the same length. And there's a number of ways you can do this. You can count in your head. So maybe breathing in for 4 and out for 4, or for 3, or for 5, or for whatever feels right for your body right now. You can use your fingers. So bring each finger to the tip of your thumb as you inhale, and again as you exhale. Or you can just set the intention and allow your body to balance, because your body knows how to balance. And knowing as well that whatever count you begin with, you don't have to stick to that count. It might feel right at the beginning and it may not feel right at the end. And adapting to suit what your body is asking for. And as the music begins, we're going to begin together. We're going to do 2 breaths together. So at the end of your next exhale, just taking a pause. And then inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. And continuing with that rhythm if that rhythm feels good, but if it doesn't, then finding your own rhythm. And if it's available to you, bringing the breath in and out gently through the nose. Keeping those breaths balanced and even. And when you've found your rhythm, just take a few moments to notice what emotions you're carrying this evening. Keeping the breaths balanced as you do that. And maybe there's a lot of emotion and it's very, very present, and maybe there's not. But again, in the slowing down, maybe allowing the emotions to slowly move through your body. And as you slow down, maybe they'll soften as well a little bit. And maybe it's only since you arrived that you've noticed emotions. Sometimes we're too busy. And it's only when we slow down that we notice them. Keeping that inhale and exhale soft and gentle. And knowing as well that whatever emotions are there, they're absolutely perfect. We need all the emotions. And as your breaths become balanced, maybe there's a calmness. Or a softness. And seeing, can you notice that as well? And knowing too that the emotions can be there, but they don't have to take over. They can softly move. And it's almost time to go back into the silence and maybe bringing a little bit of that calm into the silence as you rest.
And just noticing how you feel as the bird song begins again. And being aware of what you found in the silence. And we're going to begin our coherence breathing again. So remembering that coherence breathing matches the inhale to the exhale. Breathing, if possible, in and out through the nose. And if it helps to settle your mind, using a count. 3, 4, 5 or more. And if allowing your fingers and your body to signify the change. And just bringing that connection between your breath and the counting with your fingers. Or letting the music and letting your experience guide. As the bird song comes to an end, we're going to breathe together. So let your breath fall out, rest in the exhale. And then inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. And just let your body find a rhythm that works for you. As we bring our attention to our mind and to our thoughts, noticing what happens when we allow our thoughts to drift. Do they drift forward? Into the future? Into the next thing? Or do they drift backwards into the past, into what might have been, what we could have done differently? And as we keep that solid foundation of gentle inhale, gentle exhale, know that you can follow the wandering thoughts of your mind, and that the breath is holding you. That you can be an observer. watching your thought clouds move gently through your mind. Noticing where you want to follow the trains of thought. And noticing how easy it is for you to get off those trains and come back to observing. And as we move gently into the last minute, let your mind settle on the gentle inhale and exhale of the breath. Past, present, or future, there you'll find the breath.
And as the birdsong brings the silence to a close again, just noticing how that silence felt. And if the invitation to slow down is maybe changing the silences. And in our final segment in this session, I'm going to invite you back to awareness. So connecting again with your breath, and there's no particular breath style or breath pattern that I'm inviting you to. Just your own natural breath rhythm. And before the music begins, just taking a few moments to notice that rhythm. And maybe you remember what you noticed in the first segment, and maybe you don't. And also maybe the breath feels different now, and maybe it doesn't. But just noticing. And there's no better outcome than another outcome. Just noticing what's there. Maybe noticing where the breath is entering and leaving your body. And what it feels like. Maybe where you feel your body moving. And when you're noticing where your body's moving, maybe just leaving your attention in your body for a while. Maybe noticing, has the invitation to slow down, has that landed in your body? And noticing how your body feels right now. And again, without judgment or without analysis, just noticing. And maybe that invitation to slow down has allowed your body to soften a little bit. And maybe you can still feel some parts of your body that are holding on. And noticing if you direct your breath there, what difference that makes. And even as your focus is in your body, keeping some of that focus on your breath. On the inhale and the exhale. And again, noticing how that invitation to slow down lands in your body. Maybe it causes it to tense. Just allowing that to soften as you inhale and exhale. And knowing that you can slow down, you can allow your body to be still for the next, even just for the next 5 minutes. And giving yourself permission to be still and to slow down. Maybe your breath is slowing as everything else is slowing down. Taking your attention gently back to your breath. As we gently move to rest in the silence.
And as the bird song brings the silence to a close for the last time in this session, just taking a moment to reflect on how it feels to think about going backwards now, to allowing space for review and reflection. Notice any differences and notice where it's exactly the same. And both are perfectly okay. And allowing some gentle movements into your body and kind of responding to the invitation to come back into the Zoom room, but very gently. So first of all, perhaps rubbing your hands together and placing them over your eyes. And just letting your eyes open into the warmth of your palms. And gazing around just a little, orienting yourself back into the actual room that you're in. Stretching perhaps. Moving over onto one side if you've been laid down and gently coming back to sitting. And taking your time as you make your way back into the shared meeting space in the Zoom room.
And as you make your way back and take your time, plenty time, I'm going to draw your attention to our usual links in the chat. And if you're watching the recording, they'll probably be down below, but they will be somewhere. So as usual, the recording for this session will go on YouTube, and the link to our YouTube channel is there. And if you find yourself at our YouTube channel, we love likes and subscribes. We get very excited. But the recording will also go in the Exhale library, and you can sign up on the link. You can sign up to the free tier, and there's no ads in it. So if you want the recording without ads, please feel free to sign up to the library. 2 breathwork sessions. We actually have one on Friday evening, which is Anchoring the Exhale, and that's our breathwork and seasonal astrology. So that's on Friday, and that's with Pisces. And then on the second Sunday of March, it'll be next, we have our evening breathwork retreat. And Fridays is 2 hours, but the evening breathwork retreat is 3 hours. And we are breathing with the alder tree in that one. And our seasonal retreats, the Exhale gatherings, they've got a name. It's still expressing interest. So if you are interested in finding out, there are 3 days. You can join us for all 3 days. You can join us for 1 day. And if you are interested in more information, if you go to the link, which is the buy tickets link, you'll get all the information. You'll get the place to put your name on the waiting list, and everything we're doing is there. And the final link is, as always, our directory listing. And if we get excited with YouTube subscribers, we get more excited with directory reviews. So yeah, if you enjoyed this and you want to leave us a review, or indeed if you're not in the community and you want to get in touch with us, you can do both at our directory listing. So just before we turn off the recording and open the room for Heart and Voices, for anybody watching on the recording, please be gentle and kind with yourself. The actual time you spend doing the conscious breathing is just the beginning. So give yourself time to allow all that to settle. And yeah, we should always be gentle and kind with ourselves, but be especially gentle and kind for the next while after this. And do all the things that we know are good for us, like drinking water and eating nourishing food, all those things. And hopefully we will breathe with you again soon.